Hello guys, Winston here. Dust collection is a topic that's been on my radar for over a year now since I'm generating literally buckets of sawdust with my CNCs. My problem with workspace cleanliness is especially critical because my workshop is indoors. Not like in a garage or a basement, but like in a carpeted living room. So implementing a dust shoe was very high on my to-do list. In fact, I'd previously picked up a length of brush bristles so I could experiment with some ideas. Unfortunately, I never found enough free time to fully realize a design. I didn't want to make a dust shoe that clamped to the spindle because I'm not really a fan of those designs. They move with your Z-axis, so if you're cutting materials with any real thickness, then your dust shoe bristles are going to end up compressed as you cut lower and lower. This induces drag and back pressure on your machine, changes your clearance height, and reduces the consistency of your suction. So when I got an email from Mark Chepurny, the brains behind a successfully kickstarted contraption called the SuckIt Dust boot, about bringing the same device to the Shapeoko 3, I was immediately interested. Now, a word of caution, everything you're about to see here is pre-production hardware. Between now and the final production run, the fit and finish will only improve. The SuckIt is designed to mount to the X-axis carriage plate with minimal hardware and permit spindle height independent dust shoe setup. The installation process takes a few steps but is overall pretty straightforward. First, you need to install the mounting brackets to the X-axis carriage plate that will guide the dust shoe assembly vertically. This involves removing the Z-springs and some hex wrench work. Once those brackets are secure, the dust shoe support arms can be added. These are held on by a single thumb screw each. Lastly, the dust shoe itself locks into the arms via magnets. This makes it easy to remove when you need access to change out an end mill, but it's still strong enough to support your vacuum hose even if it's not super compliant. Adjusting the SuckIt is as simple as it appears. Loosen the two thumb screws on the arms, lower the dust shoe to the surface of your workpiece, and lock the assembly at that height by tightening the thumb screws again. It adds all of about 20 seconds to your workflow. As for the SuckIt's effectiveness, it's quite good. That shouldn't really be all that surprising since this isn't really rocket science. The fundamentals of the design are solid. The bristles contain larger bits of debris, and particulates are evacuated through the vacuum port. Even if you don't have a perfect seal with the bristles, you can still get enough airflow with a tiny consumer-grade vacuum to keep airborne dust from escaping. As someone who works with MDF a lot, this is a big concern, and the SuckIt addresses that for me. A dust shoe won't work for every situation, but if you spend a lot of time cutting projects out of large pieces of flat stock, it can become an invaluable tool you wondered how you lived without. You guys will definitely be seeing this one in future project videos. However, it would be disingenuous of me to pretend that there are no drawbacks with this setup. You are sacrificing a little bit of X-axis travel to accommodate the SuckIt's mounting system, about an inch. You lose about a centimeter of usable end mill travel since you can't plunge completely through the depth of the shoe, and there are a few more moving parts involved with the SuckIt system than on your average dust shoe. None of these things pose much of a problem for me, but you should be aware of them going in. Now, as a beta tester / guinea pig, I was able to see the design evolution of the Shapeoko 3 version of the SuckIt. Mark had designed the first prototype around his 2015 machine, but when I tested it on my 2016 XL, I found a lot of subtle design changes in the machine had rendered his prototype less than perfect. There were gantry height changes, the addition of PEM nuts, and minor changes in hole locations. We went through a couple iterations until all those kinks were ironed out, and because of that process, I'm pretty confident that Mark's Kickstarter will deliver something that works with both old and new machines. To be clear, it's not the only dust shoe option out there, but if you're in the market for one and Z-height independence sounds appealing to you, Mark's Kickstarter for the SuckIt is definitely worth a look. I'll have a link to his campaign in the description below. And that's all I have for this week. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I want to thank Mark for showing me that CNC doesn't need to be a messy hobby. At least not all the time.